Karyn Bryant for MMA H.E.A.T. I'm talking with Gray Maynard, who is facing TJ Grant at UFC 160. I feel like I haven't seen you in a little while. How have you been? How have you been?
I've been doing good. I've been doing real good.
Do you you've had a bit of a layoff. Do you enjoy the time off, or are you one of those guys that gets squirrely when you can't fight?
I mean, a little bit of both. You try to turn it into where you learn about more things, the nutrition, sleeping, peaking, more technique, watch tape. It's not that I chose that. It's just, I had the injury. I had to pull out of the bout, and they got a lot of cards with a lot of guys, so this was the first time I could get back in there.
Right. Yeah. Now, do you feel that a lot is changing in the weight class? I mean, there seems to be some shifting.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. Yeah, it's going crazy. It's a good one to follow.
So let's talk about TJ Grant. Your name is so much more familiar to fans, but why do you think he's a dangerous fighter?
He comes at you. He's good across the board. Just a tough guy. He proved it against Matt. He had a close one against Evan, and then beat a couple good guys before. So, I mean, anytime a guy does that, you gotta kind of take notice and be prepared for him.
But where do you think you're better? In what elements?
I mean, I think I'm better in all areas, just because of who I train with, what I've been through, level I'm at. I've been competing my whole life at a top level, nationals, world championships. So that's the biggest part of the game, is just kind of how you compete and about who you are, and for me, I always go after the best people to train and go after the best people to compete against. And if you look at who I've gone against, they're pretty much all top 10 guys.
So who have you been working with mainly in preparation for this fight, though?
I've been at AK the whole time. John was my main sparring partner. We had some battles, so it was a great camp, best camp I ever had. I feel, yeah. And
so, how did you feel? I mean, obviously, you got to see what Cain was up to. I mean, how do you feel about him in this, leading into this? I know, I've seen Daniel Cormier a lot lately, and he talks about him, and he's just that. Cain is an exemplary kind of a fighter. So, what have you seen with him camping?
No, Cain. He's the type of guy that just leads by what he does, and that's pretty much just keep his mouth closed, keep his head down, and takes care of what he needs to day to day, and then that goes to, then he proves it in the octagon. He's got the skills of like lightweight guys, cardio of a lightweight guy, and he's at heavyweight.
How do you feel when you look back, or did you even look back at the fight with Clay? And that's one that he got a lot of grief for. So I'm curious what your perception of that fight is.
Yeah, no, I took a little bit of the blame too, just because it takes two to tango. I look back on it. There's a couple technical things that I could have done, but then you look at the Anderson bouts that were a little bit slow because guys, they didn't engage, and then a lot of people were like, it was Anderson, he's this and that. And so I got to put it into perspective much as I can, but I did try to learn a couple technical things and correct a couple things I needed to correct.
All right, well, I guess we'll see that in action in just a couple of days when you face TJ. Thanks for talking with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.